Hi everyone, my name is Penelope, newly unemployed. I started a YouTube channel to document my journey in finding a job and to also stay productive and practice self-care. Today I'm sharing 5 things I've learned after watching Headspace Guide to Meditation on Netflix. You can find the timestamps on the description box below. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably interested in personal development like me. Chances are you've read multiple articles on the habits of successful people. I swear, meditating is always part of that list. So naturally, I attempted it so many times in my life by looking up meditation music on YouTube. But I always end up getting discouraged and giving up. So I've never tried to seriously incorporate it in my daily habits till early last year when I downloaded a meditation app called Calm. Frankly, I didn't do a full research on which one is better, Headspace or Calm. My friend was just using that app, so I downloaded the same thing. Some of the misconceptions that I'm going to share in this video were clarified when I first started using Calm, but this Netflix series reminded me of them. And of course, most of them I learned directly from this show. So let's dive into myth number 1. You have to think about nothing during meditation. When I first learned that this was not true, I was mind blown because I thought your mind has to be clear, which means you shouldn't be thinking about anything. That's pretty intimidating. I mean, is that even possible? This always reminds me of my psychology professor one time when he posed a challenge to everyone in class to try not to think of a polar bear right now. Like, don't try to think of a polar bear right now. It's difficult, right? In episode 1, the narrator clarifies this misconception. He says, imagine that you're sitting on the side of a road. All you have to do is sit and watch the cars. The cars are your thoughts. You shouldn't try to stop them or drive them or do anything with them. Just watch them pass. Learning about this was a game changer for me. Myth number 2. You have to be in lotus position when meditating. For me, this one was a huge barrier because I thought I had to be sitting cross-legged and eyes closed. This was also addressed immediately in the series. And apparently you could be laying in bed or sitting down, eyes open, eyes closed. It doesn't matter, whatever is comfortable for you. It's truly about finding a balance between not too comfortable where you end up falling asleep and not too uncomfortable that that's all you're focusing on the whole time. I mean, the lotus position has its benefits, I'm sure, like lengthens your spine, makes you more attentive, etc. But for beginners, like most people, it's not that sustainable. So I love learning about this. Myth number 3. There's no science-based evidence that meditation is good for you. This is on me. I didn't even bother to look it up. I just assumed that everything was just anecdotal. I mean, I never judge people who did it, but it definitely affected me in thinking, this is not backed up by research. And it's also really hard, so why should I do it? But the series mentioned several research studies related to the meditation techniques. My favorite one is the study in Professor David Creswell lab at Carnegie Mellon University. They wanted to know which component of meditation made it effective. So noting is a meditation technique mentioned in the series, and it is when you accept or acknowledge your negative feelings instead of trying to get rid of them. Over a period of 2 weeks, they randomly split up a group of stress volunteers. One group used noting, the other used other meditation and stress management techniques. Those who used noting has significantly reduced stress response, reduced stress hormone levels, and lower blood pressure responses compared to the other groups, which is rather telling. Speaking of other techniques, let's move on to myth number 4. Visualization technique focuses on the clarity. This technique is when they guide you, for example, to imagine your favorite place. Apparently, most people focus on the details instead, like What's the color of the house, or which beach is it? Are there 2 cabins? On episode 2, the narrator invites us to focus on the feeling more instead of the details of that image. What does that make you feel? Which is a good tip since I tend to overthink this sometimes. And lastly, but definitely not the least, you're failing at meditation if your mind wanders. Again, this was a critical information for me since I thought this for so long. And actually, one of the main reasons I was discouraged to continue meditation before. In the series, they said it's okay because brain is malleable and meditation is about training your mind. Yes, your mind can wander and think about that assignment that you have to do or the dishwasher that you have to load, and that's okay. Acknowledge it and then go back. So it's like training a muscle. Every time you go back to the gym, you lift a weight that's slightly heavier than you can comfortably rep for 20. And why do you do this? To build resistance, right? To train the muscle. So it's the same thing with meditation. You train your mind for it to be stronger. Other thing that I love about the series is that I like that after each meditation, he reminds people that your mind is already changing. I think he does this because it's easy to give up when you don't really see any results right away. Again, it's like when you decide to go to the gym for the first time. After day 1, you're not gonna see the results right away. And that's already with something you can see. So what more if it's something a little bit more abstract like the mind? I think it's so precious that he's doing this. Another thing that I appreciate about the series is that the narrator gave me the idea that after meditation, before moving, you take a moment to reflect on how that made you feel. I've actually never done this before. I just open my eyes and get on with my life, and never fully absorbing how I'm much calmer and more peaceful. So I will definitely continue to do this. Even though I've laid out a summary here, I still recommend for you to watch the series because there's a guided meditation after he explains the technique. Hope you related in some of the misconceptions and thoughts that I had on meditation. Maybe this video will convince you to at least try it. Thank you so much for watching the video and see you in the next one.